Episode 1. Jim. All right, let's get started. So, welcome to Build Better. I am your host today, Macey Kott. I am also the social media creator for Silverthorne, so I am the one that bugs you all day on Facebook and Instagram.
Or fills up your reel bucket so you can be entertained.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to think of it that way, beautiful. I love to hear it. And with me today is our founder of Silverthorne, Jim Work. He's going to be going through some tidbits and peeling back the layers of Silverthorne for us today to really get down to the basics for everybody that doesn't know. But yeah, Jim, so what would you say is the purpose of this podcast for our viewers?
We had this idea over the last couple of months. I think the biggest purpose is just to educate our customers. You know, we're not the same as every other builder. So I don't know. You guys have come up with some good ideas. We're talking about maybe having trades, our own employees, construction managers come on the podcast, but really to just educate people, maybe entertain them a little bit along the way from our antics, perhaps.
Maybe just a little bit. We'll try to keep it on.
We'll try to keep it PG.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, educate our customers and let them maybe, connect with us a little bit. I can't meet every single customer anymore, which is unfortunate, but just so they can get a feel for us and the company and the people that work here. We're not a big giant corporate builder, but we're not, one guy in a pickup truck anymore either. So.
Yeah. And basically just kind of see everybody that you're going to be working with when you're building a home with Silverthorne and all our communities up close and personal for a little bit more time than you would at, let's say, a pre-dig meeting or something.
Are we going to cycle through all the construction managers? Like, are we going to get all the shy guys, all the not-so-shy guys?
I have every intention of forcing all of them to be on this podcast. So
that's a good idea. Should definitely make Logan rap, though. I really like that idea.
Yes. Logan
Way, if you listen to this, you have to rap, apparently.
Yes. So we'll work on that this week. I'll text you after this podcast. But yeah, so what would you say the viewers are going to be hearing on this podcast? Like certain topics, anything that you would like to go over this year?
Yeah, I think we're going to go over the process of building a house, which is, we could probably go over like an overview of the process of building a house, but then there's like all kinds of little parts of it, milestones, I guess, that we could get into. Or
like things you wouldn't think of when you're just typically thinking of building a house.
Yeah, I think like, we can even have some of the other team members too get into the weeds on some of the, the trim stage after drywall or before drywall or the rough stage, or even like there's so much stuff that happens before you start a house that people don't realize.
That's very true.
Years ago, you could just go pull a permit and dig a house in 2 weeks. Like that doesn't happen anymore. There's so many things that are required now to get a house started. Really want to touch on why we're different. So we have a phrase, why you get more with Silverthorne, and not everybody's fortunate enough to build a house even multiple times in their life, usually just once.
Yeah.
So if you go out to, like, we're used to this, we know why we're different, but if you're going out to look for a new home and you don't know what's different, if maybe somebody listens to one of these podcasts and gets something out of it, you just look for new homes in Plainfield or new homes in Elgin, and you're not going to be able to tell the difference at first between ourselves and some of the big public builders like Lennar or Pulte or D.R. Horton. So why you get more with us. Probably get into some of the building science stuff. Me and a bunch of the guys are going next week to a building science symposium because we care about building the houses tighter and better than we used to. Like there really is a science to it. Like people might laugh about that, but like there's literally 6 PhDs next week, like coming to teach us all everything they've learned.
I heard some of the guys talking about that. I didn't know they were going, but they were just saying
and we've always
about it last week, so I'm excited to hear what you guys.
Yeah. And we've always incorporated a lot of those things, but customers probably don't know. Like some customers that understand that stuff, see it and know it and appreciate it, but I bet 90% of our customers don't even know. Like it provides a more comfortable, better home for them, but maybe understanding a little bit more behind that science. Our On Your Lot program would be another good thing. I mean, we have a lot of people that like our homes. You see the messages Skylar does all the time, but I love the home, but I'd like to live here or there, so I think that's something that we don't really push enough of, letting people know that because, that we do have people that are assertive enough to be like, hey, I like your houses. Can you build it here?
Yeah.
But how many people don't know that?
Messages. But I mean, honestly, we can build your home in Quad Cities and I don't know, Chicagoland, pretty much anywhere you want to go. We just happen to also have communities if you want to build there too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think that's good because we can explain that in another podcast, like an On Your Lot thing. Like we'd love to build everywhere, but there are some restrictions.
Yes.
I mean, there's kind of hate to say it, but dead zone between Chicagoland and Eastern Iowa where we unfortunately just can't get there. We don't have the trade coverage and stuff like that and people. And I think question and answer maybe from some of our customers, maybe even people we could do question and answer, like people that are in the building process, I mean, like we're coming up on a winter.
yeah.
There's going to be all kinds of questions about winter stuff. We could even probably do a podcast on that. That comes up every single year as long as I've been doing this.
I bet.
You ask even some of the older guys that have been doing it longer than me, and every single winter people ask. So maybe that's something we could do and be good for the sales team to be able to pass on to the customers, hear it from myself or our VP of Ops.
Yeah, because from an outsider standpoint, you kind of just think, oh, winter, they're not going to be building much. Well,
happens every single year.
Surprise.
Yeah. There's stuff you have to do it right. Don't get me wrong, but like
definitely.
we could get into that. Yeah. I think some interviews with customers would be cool. We've got some customers that I was just seeing this weekend. Like we're getting to the point where we built houses for people whose kids are now going to homecoming and they were like this tall when we built their house, which is kind of cool, and they like their house and they can say really good things about it, 15 years later. So.
Yeah, literally just spending their whole life in their Silverthorne house.
Yep. Interviews with the team members, I mean, it'd be good for everybody to put a face with a name, like you said, before they get to a pre-dig meeting with the construction manager. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, we could send their
watched you on a podcast already.
Yeah,
I know
if every
about
CM
you.
had one, we could just be like, hey, welcome to your pre-dig. Here's your construction manager. Yeah, guys might hate this.
Just brace yourselves.
Watch out,
fellas. Boys. So, gone over topics. Before we get into more of that, so that the viewers know even more of the basics of Silverthorne, how did the Silverthorne name come about?
Oh boy. So like 4 people ever have guessed this, and I'm very proud of them, the ones who did. But my last name is Work, and it's not a great home building company name. So Work Homes, like that's just. And then growing up as a kid, like every grade, and I'm at the end of the alphabetical order. If you remember back in grade school, they'd get to me and be like, "Hey, so you're gonna work really hard this?" Like I probably do work too hard, but anyways, I mean, I guess I'm living up to it. But yeah, but like. I don't know. I could feel the jokes coming when I was like, Work Homes. That's not going to work. Mm-mm. See, I just like made a pun and I didn't even mean to. Work Homes is not going to work. So me and a bunch of buddies used to go snowboarding and skiing every year out in Colorado. Yeah. And we would always stop in a little town called Silverthorne, which is right before Breckenridge. If you ever drive out to Colorado, I mean, we had like 4 or 5 guys. We're college kids. We pooled our $20 and strapped the snowboards to the top of a Toyota Corolla and barely got to Colorado. And Silverthorne was a really cool town. It's grown up quite a bit, but I just always liked it, and it sounded like a great name. So Silverthorne Homes was born. Silverthorne Home Builders. Yeah.
It's stuck and it's still around.
Yeah, that's where it came from. So I'm not from Colorado. We are not from Silverthorne, Colorado. That's just the name we picked. Shout out to Silverthorne, Colorado.
I know. Anytime I'm working on Instagram and doing our hashtags,
yeah,
a lot of Silverthorne businesses are coming after our posts, which is fine. We still chit chat.
So maybe one day we'll build in Silverthorne.
Yeah. Is this foreshadowing? Are we going to Colorado?
I mean, I wouldn't complain about that.
It's a good state. I wouldn't be mad. So, I guess before that, obviously, you weren't just randomly going to Colorado to snowboard thinking of business names. You were probably into home building a little bit at that point already. So, how did you first get into home building? Like, where did that all start?
Yeah, it actually started in high school. I worked for an architect and a civil engineer. So we drew houses, we laid out subdivisions, we did plats, stuff like that. So that was a really good experience. It was just a good job. I thought I wanted to be an architect as a kid,
I was there one day.
Architects, they told me architects don't get paid a whole lot. So then plot twist, I went to college, Northern Illinois, and I switched to accounting after engineering, figured that out. Just liked it, liked the rules, just for whatever reason. And I was working in construction, though. you could go work at Walmart or Target, or you could get a job in construction. So framing, siding, trim, a lot of those things. Worked for local builders, both independently, and then worked for a small builder in DeKalb County. Then 2008 happened, obviously. So a lot of people went out of business. Yeah. We were one of those casualties, and I found myself without a job. Applied to a bunch of stuff, got a couple job offers, and actually kind of always think about like, man, should I have turned those down? But, I decided to make a go of it, and we built a house for a guy who was friends with another guy that we had built a house for before, and just kind of started from there, mostly in Sycamore, DeKalb area, and then we've expanded eastward into Chicagoland. Since 2008. But yeah, I kind of had a varied set of experiences from actually swinging the hammer. I always laugh too. Like, I go into meetings now with city people and building officials and things like that, and people just assume like I don't know how to actually build anything. I'm like, I can swing a hammer, believe it or not.
There.
Yeah, been there, done that. So. But it was all really great experience, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, even working for an architect, I mean, we have our own in-house architecture department, get more with Silverthorne. Yeah. That's one of the, a lot of companies don't have that. And the reason we have that is because I have a comfort level with that. And so that's how we started doing that, So there's just little things like that that set us apart.
And I even actually had a friend texting me the other night this week, asking about our floor plans and asking if there's like those plug and play options that you can go in with architecture. And I'm like, oh yeah, we do things like that all the time. So
that's funny though. Like, if he or she's asking that, like, are there plug and play options? Like, oh, we have our own architecture department. What do you want to dream up? Now, obviously we won't do like anything under the world anymore, but I mean, we do way more than, or if we have a plug and play option, like a sunroom, it's 14 by 14, and you decide you want a little bit more space. Like, yeah, we can change that,
There's wiggle room.
Yeah.
So I guess with that being said, so maybe I'll send her your way soon. But where are we building? What are our communities like? What do we build?
Yeah. Feels like all over the place now, but I mean, I guess there's so many more places we could be. We're working on that. Eastern Iowa and Chicagoland. So Chicagoland, our offices are in Sycamore, but we mostly, we have one subdivision in Cortland in the DeKalb Sycamore area, but most of our stuff is to the east now. So western suburbs of Chicago, Plainfield, Naperville, Elgin, Hampshire. We're looking at some stuff right now down in like New Lenox, Frankfort. We've got a subdivision, Shorewood. And then out in eastern Iowa, the Bettendorf, Davenport area. And then we've got another community out in North Liberty by the university, by where the Hawkeyes are at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got a bunch of different spots. And as far as what we build, I mean, we're a semi-custom builder. So we don't build what like the big production builders, what, some people call them the tract builders, like the Pulte, Lennar, those kinds of guys.
Yeah.
They build a really efficient, inexpensive home, but it's like a manufacturing plant, they have to build the same thing over and over to get that kind of price for people, which is great if that's what you're looking for, but
like factory built sort of thing.
Yeah. But if you want something that's got a little more character, if you want to be able to change things, if you want to be able, like your friend, to be able to change some of those options and not just take the plug and play stuff, that's where we fit in the middle. One of the analogies I like to use a lot is being Target. We're not Walmart. Sorry, Pulte, Lennar, DR Horton guys that I know. But, we're not Walmart. We're not trying to get you the very, very best price on everything. That's not our customers. That's not necessarily, obviously price is a concern for anybody at any level, but we're not just trying to give you the lowest price possible. But we're also not, Von Maur or Nordstrom's, that would be what I would say is the fully custom guys, if you've got $2 million to spend on a house and there's a guy I know in St. Charles that put a slide in from the upstairs to the basement for the kids in this family for this house he built, but it was a $2.2 million house. Like, yeah, that's cool. But if you don't have money for a slide in your house, we're your guys.
You can reach out to us
in between, So if you want a nice home, you want it to be semi-custom. Semi-custom means that there's a lot of changes and things that we'll do. We just touched on the architecture department, but there's also things we will say no, just because we feel it's too complicated, or maybe we don't have the trades on staff that we feel can handle it. We don't want to do something and let you down either. So if we don't feel comfortable with it, we'll just say, hey, that's just a little bit too much, But we'll tell our salespeople will tell customers, like, hey, if you're not a fit for us, like maybe you should go see one of these guys
Yeah.
that builds
I'm
custom
gonna be
homes.
completely transparent, not trying to
Yeah, yeah.
screw anybody
We don't
over.
we don't want to sell you a house if it's not a good fit for sure.
Exactly. Well, cool. Yeah, reach out to us if you don't want the slide going from your first to basement.
And you don't want the Walmart house.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
and if
did
you
I
don't
just say
want
that out loud
Walmart.
again? I mean, I shop at Walmart too. Don't get me wrong, but you know, you go to Walmart when you want something
Yeah.
cheap, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
You go to Target when you want something that's a good value but still looks good.
Yeah,
And if you're going to a wedding, you go to Von Mar,
yeah.
right?
Personally, I'm a big Target girl, so
Ironically, I think we may have a few customers like you.
no. Oh man, yeah, no. All good things though. Reach out to us, like Jim was saying. You can build in a numerous amount of communities in Illinois and Iowa where we can build on your lot.
Well, the on your lot, like we talk about our community so much, but you know, right now we have somebody in Marengo, so we've got community in Hampshire. They reached out, they really like our homes, but they already own a lot of Marengo and they want to be in Marengo, but no one's building there really. They've talked to some small, in talking to our sales manager and salesperson about this, they've talked to some small custom builders who either can't tell the customer what the price of the house is going to be, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, that is wild.
Or they are way, way, way more money because they just don't have any purchasing power like we do.
Yeah.
And so those people are they're kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of options for them, you know, and they did talk to one smaller custom builder, I guess, that they kind of liked, but they were concerned that it's just one guy. Like, if that guy goes on vacation, your warranty department, your construction manager, like everybody's gone.
And you are going to be building for quite a while, probably.
that too. So, and there's nothing against. I started off as a guy in a pickup truck. Like, there's nothing against those guys, but you know, we've got a whole team that can back you up too. So
exactly. Oh man.
So yeah, if you've got a lot, or you want us to help you find a lot, that's something else we do that people don't understand. Like if you just need help, like, hey, I really like your house, I want the Bettendorf Ranch, but I want it in North Plainfield. You have a subdivision in South Plainfield. I mean, South High School and North Side School for Plainfield, for people who know Plainfield, but you know, that's.
Yeah, like if they want to be in a certain school district.
We also know of certain off-market lots and things like that where we can maybe get you, you know, hey, how about this one or this one, and here's what it would cost to put a house on that. So if it's close to one of our communities, we can definitely do it. Now, we're not going to be building in Gurnee tomorrow on your lot, and we're not going to be building in, you know, Beecher, but I mean, those are pretty far away from our normal
But within
communities.
reason, we've got your back.
No.
And I guess something that everybody probably like to hear is a success story that we've had over the years. What would you say something that was successful that you would want to share with everybody?
Oh boy, where do I start? I would say two big things: 2020, and then the last year or two, where we've kind of become one of the largest private builders in Chicago. So I guess I'll go to that one first. I mean, there's some companies that track where we're at, you know, relative to the rest of the market. But, you know, really big corporate builder like Pulte or Lennar might build 1,500, 1,700 homes a year in Chicagoland. And, you know, we might build about 100. But sadly, but not sadly, that makes us one of the biggest private builders. And what I mean that is privately owned, you know, not, you know, some big corporate, you know, publicly traded entity that, you know, decisions are made in Dallas or Atlanta or that. Like, all the decisions are made here in this building in Sycamore.
Do all in fact live locally to Iowa and Illinois.
Yeah. Like a lot of people say that, but like, no, all our trades, all our people, like it's all local. You don't call like the purchasing department in Atlanta. Yeah. You know, so that, and then I would say 2020, like COVID was a big pain for a lot of people, but we, team kind of rallied around it. We were doing like Zoom calls every Monday morning. It's like, I called it like the war room. I mean, it was because we didn't know if we were going to get shut down, you know, what was going to happen. But some of our sales team had this idea to scrounge up some old iPads, like kids' iPads, whatever we could get our hands on, because you couldn't like, you know, go to Best Buy and just buy them. Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, the heart of that, like that March. And we actually ended up, we have in or now lock sets. So it's like a cellular lock set on some of our model homes. So if you ever want to check out one of our model homes and you don't want to, if you're one of those people that doesn't want to be bothered by a salesperson, we understand. You can go tour one of those homes on your own time, even like, you know, 7, 8 o'clock at night after they've gone home. all by yourself. You just call them up, give them your driver's license so they know you're legit and you're not going to do something crazy. And they'll give you a special code to get in. But we were using that with FaceTime and Google Meets basically to have virtual meetings with customers. And so we sold a house first time ever that year without meeting the customer. And then we sold a couple more. And then as the year went on, people got a little more comfortable and everybody was masking up and all that stuff. But I mean, we sold a couple houses, like literally never meeting the customer, which was just like crazy wild. But
so 180 from before.
we kept things going and the team did great. And then we had a lot of deliveries. Everybody got busy that year. They didn't think they would, but it was just a good year overall for all of us. But it was challenging, but also exciting at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So. We love a good challenge. We're up for it, right?
We're home builders, yes.
Yes. And so obviously that is something where we've adapted with changes and the industry has evolved over time. But is there any other tidbits that you've seen back from, 2010 to now? Anything that's changed at all?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, the actual physical construction of the homes, the building science has gotten better. We've always tried to stay ahead of that. So they now have an energy code that they used to not have. So you have a building code that tells you where to put certain pipes, wires, floor joists, things like that. But they now have an energy code, and that started, I think it was 09. But even when the 09 code came out, we were, like when I started, we were already doing more than what was required, and we still do. So that's changed a lot. So I mean, if you're looking at buying a home and you're looking at a resale home that was built in 2005, that's not that old. But if you compare that to a home built today or even in 2015, like, and we could get into this on another podcast, but like if you look at thermal images of those two homes, you would be shocked. Like the 2005 house is a nice house, but it's like so leaky, air leaks and not really good heating and air systems and things like that. So that's changed a lot. And then in the industry, like I kind of alluded to earlier, like a lot of the big production builders, they don't even take orders anymore. So I'm not going to name exactly who, but they are very open in saying that they are a spec builder, meaning they build, 25 homes at a time in a community, and they're all ready to, the good news is they're ready to move in. The bad news is they all have gray walls. They all have white countertops. They all have white cabinets. They all have the same floor. And I asked a salesperson there who I knew once, kind of jokingly, but kind of not. I was like, so if you're out at the fire pit having beers with your friends, you have too many beers and you walk in the wrong house, like you're not going to know it's your house until you see like a photo of a kid. Like, I mean, it's literally the same exact house.
Like you own this house and you own this house.
The Oprah meme?
Yeah.
Get Oprah to come on. So, I mean, that's crazy because people have always said like, oh, they're kind of cookie cutter. I get a little frustrated when people are like, oh, your homes are cookie cutter. I'm like, if we're cookie cutter, then I don't know what the hell that is, because that is literally the exact same home, same colors. Mm-hmm. So if you want to build a home with them and you want to order it the way you want to order it, you can't do that. Like they don't even do it. And that's just, I get why they do it from a business model standpoint. Like it makes sense. And again, they're publicly traded. They have shareholders in the stock market to report to. But if you want to build a home the way you'd like to build it, might make sense to come see us. So that's where I think we succeed too, because a lot of those big corporate builders, I mean, they just keep gravitating that way. And I think it's just going to continue to go that way. I don't think it's going to get a whole lot better, so.
Agreed. And Skylar and I have been working on a project, our Design by You home that's going on in Shanahan. And even that for me, like I knew about our selections and I knew about our portal, but going through all of the options that we have was very cool to see for me. Like I haven't built a home before. And so seeing everything that we can go through in the portal and select with Silverthorne and like really make it your own house, chef's kiss.
Well, the Design by You is a great idea because like you said, like I think people, and they're like, oh, you guys have options. Like, no, like we have like way more options than, I was at another public builder, I won't mention their name, but they said they had chrome doorknobs in the entire house. And if you wanted like black levers, like what we have here in our office, or what we do is in a lot of our homes, very popular, it's going to be $3,800 for the first floor, $3,800 for the second floor. I was like, I know you guys need to make money. We all do, but are you kidding me? And like, that's one of the things that's a stare in selection with us. Oh,
Yeah.
and all the other colors and all the other lever knobs. And oh, by the way, if you want something custom, you can ask, and if we can get it, we'll let you do it. I mean, that's the difference. And so, like you said, even the design by you, it's been kind of cool to watch and see what customers have been selecting, because like there's some really cool combos.
100%. I'm very excited for it to come to life.
Yeah. But that's interesting that even you notice that, because
Yeah.
you've worked here for a bit. But yeah, you haven't, until you go through building a house,
Because, like, like
you get to see the finished product when it's cool. But you don't get to see all the different. You get to see the end product, not so much
what all can go into it, that sort of thing. And even like I met with our Go Duco flooring guy downstate to pick some selections for the Design by You house, and even going in there, everything that we can choose just from him. I was like, okay.
Well, and going back to my point about some of the bigger builders, like they literally are getting to the point where you can't even choose the flooring. I mean, it's like you can't get like a different shade of like I can understand if, and I know why they're doing it, because they don't, there's a lot of purchasing power there, and it can't be misordered if it's only one color.
Yeah.
But I
one
mean,
less
like,
thing to worry about, sort of.
Yeah. So I get it, but it's like can't even choose the color, let alone the style or the width or the grain. I mean, so. I mean, you see, like, you go into some of our homes, and some people pick some floors that are, like, really, really, really cool. And then others are a little more basic. Maybe they're on a budget. That's fine. But, like, at least they get to choose the color or the tone or this something. Like, so.
I know. You can go. So we have numerous models, and obviously I've been in a ton of them. But I'll be walking in these houses, say it's a Westwood. Like, my family built a Westwood in Prairie Ridge in Hampshire. And so their house looks one certain way, and then maybe I'm in Iowa in another, and it's like, this is a totally different house. So
yeah,
it's cool to see.
Well, and like you were saying, some of the things that make us different, some of the things we do. I mean, we also move walls around. Like I said, we have the architecture team, and we can't move every wall. Some of them for various structural reasons.
Yeah.
We can move them. We can scoot them a little bit, but maybe not totally completely move them. But we've also had, didn't we have the one? A house, I think it was out in Plainfield, it was a Williamson or something, but they took the 5th bedroom and made it like a giant walk-in closet. Like,
ooh, I would do that.
Yeah, the wife or girlfriend, I don't remember if they were married or not, but they were. Yeah, it was really cool. And then she was doing like a California closet kind of thing in there. But I mean, we're talking like a 14 by 14 bedroom that we connected to the. So like the regular walk-in closet, which was still good size, was his closet, and hers was literally like a whole bedroom. So, we'll like move walls, do stuff like that.
And then I was just in one of our Braxtons that are finishing up in Hampshire, and I noticed that when you go upstairs, for the most part, our Braxton model has a balcony that looks over the living area, but they actually switched it up. And they have bedrooms up there now.
Yeah, they filled it in and put
So I was like, oh, hadn't seen that before. That's a cool idea. So
yeah. In our kitchens too, we have a lot of kitchen options. You see these, you highlight them a lot on social media. Yeah. But I think what people don't know is some of the bigger builders, if they do allow you to, if they allow you to order and pick, they might have like one upgraded kitchen. We have a gourmet kitchen like they do, to keep it simple for those people that don't want to. But we also do a lot of pretty custom kitchens. Not fully custom. There is a level where we'll say, hey, that's too much. But we actually just partnered with a cabinet company that's going to start doing design for everybody, which at our level, building as many homes as we do, literally I cannot think of anybody that does that around the country that I know. So that's pretty cool. So if you just want to add a trash rollout, that's pretty simple. But if you want to add a hidden built-in pantry door and a waterfall island, and construction guys CMs are getting angry at me as I talk, but we do those things, honestly. Like our CMs, I'm joking about that kind of, but like our CMs have the experience to do that, whereas some of the really big builders don't want to do that because they're, I hate to say it, but some of their guys don't have the experience to do that.
Yeah.
It's an assembly line. They just want to put the same thing in every time.
Just get it done. Yep.
So, yeah, trying to think what else. I mean, we do finished basements. That's another popular one that some of the bigger builders don't do, and then again, we can kind of customize those. And so
what is it in North Liberty, our model out there, the basement has like an epoxy floor or something. Is that right?
Yeah.
That looks really nice. Very nice. Big fan. I would do that if I was building. So, just saying. Think about it. All right. So, I think we're running out of time for today. But thank you so much for coming on today with me so we can kind of introduce everybody to what we're going to be getting into in this podcast in the coming months. And
You're going to host and I'm going to host, right? That's the plan?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah,
we're kind of figuring out as we go.
We'll figure it out. If one of us aren't here, maybe we can drag Skylar into it. She's
like,
behind the camera right now. I'm not super excited about it, but maybe. But yes, thank you so much for listening with us. We're excited to get these episodes rolling out to you and answer all the questions that you have. So thanks.
Thanks, guys.